My name is Zyant, and I welcome you to Dissecting Hatred. Today's despised weapon is the FAMAS, and its bad name might be well deserved. Unbeatable by nothing save the shotguns up close, let's break down what makes this gun so universally derided. And while we're at it, why don't we take a look at where it falters, how to compensate, and how to succeed in all situations. First and most important to any weapon is the damage it deals. Across the board, each assault rifle is identical in this respect. The maximum damage to 8 meters is 25, and it drops at a constant rate to 17 at 50 meters, where it remains out to all further distances. As far as actual killing potential, no assault rifle is more or less deadly than any others when it comes to the damage dealt. But there are two main factors which make individual rifles feel quite different: their rate of fire and their recoil. The in-game FAMAS, like its real-life counterpart, fires at 1,000 rounds per minute, the fastest in its category. If all shots are on target and register, the FAMAS kills faster than any other assault rifle, less than a quarter second at point-blank range. Even at maximum range, provided clean shots, the FAMAS deals death in less than half a second. So to balance its ability to pour lead down range, DICE added an enormous amount of recoil. The FAMAS kicks 60% to either side and 30% upwards. The horizontal kick is therefore difficult to predict, and coupled with the unforgiving upward recoil, makes burst fire essential to all but the shortest of ranges. Most weapons in Battlefield 3 are only useful for 2 engagements before a reload, and the FAMAS takes this concept to its logical conclusion. Due to the rate of fire, the weapon empties magazines at an alarming rate, and thus requires frequent replenishing. Compounding this limitation is the extended reload animation, taking over 3 seconds even with one in the chamber, and nearly 4 without. While the map size, player count, and pace of the game do allow for relative safety for most reloads, there will always be times when you need 4 more bullets and find yourself caught fumbling for your sidearm. On unlock, the FAMAS feels almost unusable, due in large part to the horrid iron sights. Even the front post hinders more than it helps, further obscuring the view of the target. The only real counter to the incredibly small sight picture is patience in your aim and short burst fire. Without any attachments, the recoil, coupled with the blinding irons, make the FAMAS unforgiving at best. The first attachment you acquire solves only one of these problems and makes the other worse. The ACOG sight, while allowing you to actually see what you're shooting at, amplifies the already difficult to tame recoil. It does, however, make middle-range engagements far easier. Long range is still somewhat off-limits to all but the best shots and against the most unaware enemies. Combining the ACOG with the pre-patched foregrip and then heavy barrel make it more forgiving. The recoil pattern becomes vertical and generally more predictable. The sight itself makes the visual recoil somewhat obtrusive, but isn't nearly as large a problem as it is with a naked FAMAS or with just the ACOG. At 50 kills comes the red dot sight, and not long after a holographic, both of which make the recoil more manageable still. These two sights are therefore the most commonly used, though sights unlocked later are not uncommon. No weapon in Battlefield 3 is at its full potential without attachments, and the FAMAS is no exception. When paired with the proper combination of sight, stabilizer, and barrel modification, however, it becomes a force to be reckoned with, even overpowered. With the ACOG's magnification of recoil deterring its use, the most common choices for sight are the close-range optics. Whether you want US or Russian make is up to preference, as they're functionally identical. The only differences are cosmetic. The fact that those using the FAMAS are up in their enemy's face only makes the red dot and holo sights more useful. With the patch still forthcoming, the most effective, and therefore most common, secondary attachment is the foregrip. A 50% reduction in horizontal recoil means a much easier time staying on target. The tertiary slot allows for more freedom overall, though in my testing I came across what I consider a clear winner. Since its own minor patch, the tactical light is still usable, but not nearly as overpowering as it once was. You won't see many players using it for this, among other reasons. The heavy barrel increases the emphasis on upward recoil. Combined with the grip, the FAMAS pulls much more upwards, and the kick grows more predictable still. However, I found the heavy barrel most useful for a longer range class, something the FAMAS isn't suited for. If you'd rather stay loud, the laser sight is by far the best choice. The hip-fire spread of the FAMAS is tight enough without, but adding the laser makes it pinpoint to even longer distances. It is the combination of foregrip, laser sight, or the next, and I think best attachment that gives the FAMAS its hated reputation. While not something I tested extensively, the suppressor feels to be all around the best tertiary attachment. The muzzle flash on the FAMAS doesn't seem too obtrusive until you remove it. Targets remain clear as day from any distance, provided their models render in. The damage drop is not really an issue either, as again, the ranges the weapon excels at aren't anywhere near long distance. The added bonus of staying off the radar only fuels the fires of power you feel with the FAMAS in your hands. Thanks for watching this pilot episode of Dissecting Hatred. Tell me in the comments what you think needs changing and what needs to stay and what weapon you want to see next. This episode covered what many consider an overpowered weapon. Those to come, if there are any more, will use the underpowered weapons and break down how to succeed with them in a similar fashion to this video. I'll see you guys then.